Recording has begun.
All right, thank you, Tam. Good morning, everyone. Luis, would you like to kick it off?
Yeah, perfect. Good morning, everyone. This is our first official Student Advisory Committee meeting. We want to thank you taking some time out of your day today. We're going to discuss a couple things listed on agenda that we previously sent to you. So we're very excited to talk to you, hear your input, your ideas, as well as staying on track and making sure that we're all out of here by 11. So we understand today is a Friday, so we want to make sure that we're conscious with your time, and we're ready to get started. So if I'm not mistaken, Tim, should I do a roll call? Perfect.
Correct.
Charter Oak.
Present.
Eastern Connecticut State University.
Present.
Southern Connecticut State University.
Present.
Western Connecticut State University. Western Connecticut State University is not here.
Absence is noted.
Perfect. Osnontic, Cheyenne's here. Capital.
Yeah, present.
Capital Community College.
Absence is noticed.
Gateway Community College.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Housatonic Community College.
Present.
Perfect, thank you. Manchester Community College. Looks like Manchester's not here. Middlesex Community College.
Here.
Thank you. Naugatuck Community College. Absence is noted. Perfect. Northwestern Community College. Absence is noted. Norwalk Community College.
Here.
Thank you. Tree Rivers Community College.
Here.
Thank you. Tonksys Community College. Absence is noted. And Quinnebog Valley Community College.
Here.
Thank you, Tobin. Awesome, guys. Thank you for everyone. Today. So, Sharon, we'll get started with the presentation. Pretty much is based off of the agenda. So we'll get ready with that. Tam, if you can pull out the presentation.
Malachi has his hand up.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know if you guys had caught the chat that Naugatuck is present.
Perfect. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Malachi.
Apologies. I was just going through the list. You do have quorum.
Perfect.
Thank you, Tam. Tam, do you mind queuing up the PowerPoint, please? Thank you. And before we dive deep, everyone, hi, I'm Cheyenne. I'm Vice Chair for SAC. Unfortunately, I do have to leave the meeting a little bit early today due to some family events that are going on, but I just wanted to say it before it happens. And thank you, Tam, for putting up the PowerPoint. So welcome all to our first SAC meeting of 2024. I appreciate you all taking the time to be here on a Friday. You could be anywhere else, but you're here. So thank you, and we are so grateful. You can scroll down, Tam, please. So I will pass it back off to Luis so he can introduce himself to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Sharon. Hi, everyone. As many of you know, my name is Luis Sanchez Chirvoga. I'm a student. I'm a senior at Central Connecticut State University. My major is Management Informational Systems with a minor in Applications of AI. And my goal for this year is to put students' interests first and provide the services and opportunities that are much needed in our system. And for that, we're going to need everyone's help. So I'm looking forward to collaborating and gathering everyone's input so we can have something that long term is going to benefit the students. So I'm super excited to get started with the ideas and the projects that we have in mind. And I'm hoping that we can gather everyone's support to get together and accomplish something good for the students.
Wonderful. Thank you, Louise. Hi again, everyone. Once again, I'm Cheyenne. I attend CT State as NENTEC. My major is business administration. I'll be graduating and transferring in May of 2025. And my goal for SAC for this academic school year is to rally more, student awareness for our committee and create brave spaces for students system-wide.
Awesome. Thanks, Sharon. These are our student advisory committee standards and expectations. Actually, I would like to attempt to chime in and talk a little bit about this, a little bit about the decorum of the meetings and kind of like the expectation setting with the group so that we're all on the same page. So, Temp, if you'd like to chime in.
I think it's really important when groups work together that they have standards and expectations. I often have referred to them as ways of treatment and how we treat one another when we're in our spaces together. We can agree to disagree on various topics, but the way that we speak to other individuals is very important and key in leadership. I have never and will never participate in leadership that attacks another person and who they are, or the ideas that they have or things that they're sharing. Everybody is entitled to their opinion on this meeting, and everybody is entitled to share their perspective of their campuses. I think respect is very important in the spaces that we inhabit on our campuses, but respect is defined and means different things to different people. So I want everybody to kind of think of how they define respect. I want us to recognize and have responsibility for who we are as people, having empathy, understanding that equity takes time, exploring who we are as students across our system, speaking one at a time, raising our hands, asking for the opportunity to speak, not talking over one another. My family members had, a family member of mine said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And sometimes we don't spend enough time listening, or sometimes we're spending time waiting to respond to someone else versus listening to what they're actually saying. So if we can have this space be where we're actually listening to each other, that's a leadership skill I want every student on SAC to walk away with. Having perspective from someone else and patience. I have been in spaces where many leaders have not been willing to listen to other people's perspective. And by listening to other people's perspective, you are going to learn so much more. I have learned a lot in my work environment. I've been in higher ed for 32 years from listening to what other people say and do. And having that patience and listening to perspective is important. Engaging. You can come to the meetings, but true engagement means participating, helping with a subcommittee on this particular group, participating in one of the projects that the team is going to talk about today, actually being participatory in making student success in our system better and on your college campus better. It's very important that we all engage in different ways. Sometimes you're going to have more time to engage, and other times you're not going to have time to engage. But leadership is about action and not just about voice and doing things. And sometimes we have to roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty in order to make things change or happen. And escuchar, well, my family speaks Spanish, I do not. Escuchar has been always on my list for many, many years as one of our leading standards. and it means to listen in Spanish and having different perspective. Collaboration, working together. We have to work with different people to get different perspectives. And the last thing is trust and time. It takes the building of trust, and it takes time for us as a team to come together to make a difference within our system. And as the advisor for SAC, these are not my standards or expectations. These should be the standards or expectations as a group that you work together to agree upon. And when there is conflict or there's difficulty, that you have the decorum and the expectation that you'll work together to work through any kind of conflicts or disagreements in a polite and civil manner. Civility is very important in this space. Again, differences of opinion are important. So I'm going to turn it back over to Luis and Cheyenne. And if there's any other words or any other expectations or standards that you feel as a team that you would like to add to this list, I'd like to open the floor to the students to also add to this list. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen for right now so that we can see the hands of everybody. And if anybody would like to chime in and add anything to our list or comment on any of the standards that are currently listed. But I'm going to turn it over to your chair and vice chair to lead that dialogue.
Perfect. Thank you so much,
Tam.
Tam. Like Tam mentioned previously, Cheyenne and I believe that setting the correct standard is super important so we can have a successful year and every meeting is successful and on task, and we can actually get to accomplish what we set out to do. And especially everyone's input is super vital and important. So we're really looking to see if anyone wants to add more to the standards or any suggestions or things that we can change. Let's see.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, Shannon, and also if you want to add anything else, feel free.
Sure. I just want to echo what you and Tam said and co-sign it. But if anyone, has something that they think of after the meeting, please feel free to email it and we can always update it. So there's no pressure to, respond right now if it doesn't come to you immediately.
Perfect.
Victor says he thinks it's good for now. Thank you, Victor.
Thank you. Appreciate your input.
I think it's really good to marinate over things sometimes and think about them. So this PowerPoint will be sent out to the student advisory committee after, so you can look at it and then give also feedback after the meeting to your chair and vice chair if you want to add anything.
I see Malachi has his hand on. Go ahead, Malachi.
Yeah, I agree that it's a really good list of qualities that we should push to try and always hold. The only thing that I feel it could be missing is I feel engagement is a really strong word on the list, and it's important, and we do have that word engagement. If anything else, we could add a word that kind of pushes for people to be active in the group. So that people, it's like, I understand that listening is very important, speaking at one at a time, but also being active and coming up with things. Yeah, compassion is a good one, or just like motivation,
I agree. I think like you mentioned, compassion is also a really good word, like you previously mentioned, and I think create a group where all of us are engaged, and it makes the meetings not feel like meetings. I think the more engaged we are with each other, the more we can accomplish, and the more we get out of it, all of us. So, Mark, I thank you for your words. I think they're on point. Cheyenne, you have your hand up.
Oh, do I? I don't think I do. Oh, I don't know how I did that. How do I put
Perfect.
it down?
So,
okay.
May I add one as the advisor?
Yeah.
That I
Sure.
thought of, I was thinking of last night actually, is celebrate. I think that students need to celebrate things that they bring to our system and to our campuses and the things that they improve. And I think we need to celebrate the wins that we have as a team and the things that we bring forward. And that would just be one that I think would be great for this team to add, is that I don't think we do enough of celebrating the good wins and the good things that we do when we improve on things and we make things better for others that we work with. And in line with celebrations, I'd like to wish Emily a happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Birthday, Alan. Emily.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Tam. So I wrote down from the group engagement, compassion, and celebrate thus far.
Yep.
Perfect.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. And like Sharon mentioned, if anyone else wants to add anything to this list, please don't be hesitant to email either me or her or Tam with any words, and we're more than willing to add them. So make sure that we're all on the same page and we all set our expectations from the get-go. Perfect. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the new AG development framework. Basically is accessibility, completion, and talent. It basically overcompasses. This is the new mission statement for the system, and I'm sure Tam is gonna chime in and talk a little bit more about it and go more in depth. But basically, this is what the three pillars the system is moving forward going to be all about. Accessibility, making sure the students have the resources available for them to be successful. Completion, making sure that our students are completing their courses and they're graduating and they're going into the workforce. And talent, making sure that we collaborate with business partners to make sure that our students have great opportunities within the state or outside the state. So I know that we're working towards implementing this as well in the student advisory committee. So we're all are in unison to what we're trying to accomplish. So Tam, if you want to talk a little bit more about it, and Cheyenne, feel free to chime in.
So our senior board of regents, or our board of regents chair, and our chancellor talked about developing pillars, kind of like the North Star that our system is going to follow for all of our campuses. And these were the three lead North Stars that were identified: access, completion, and talent. How were they identified? They took all 6 campuses, CT State being one unified strategic plan, and the 4 universities and Charter Oaks strategic plans, and looked at the commonalities on all of those strategic plans to identify similarities and goals that all the campuses are leaning towards trying to complete, and then put them underneath each of the 3 pillars. So under accessibility, we're trying to improve, for example, transfer, our K through 12 partnerships, and various things. What they want the student advisory committee to know is that they want your voice in the planning of this framework. And they want you first to be aware of ACT and what it stands for. It's in its infancy stages. It's just been announced. And then there will be further dialogue and there will be further input that they want from students regarding ACT and the framework, and how are we going to meet those goals, and how are we supporting students through their completion at the institutions, and what kind of talent and outcomes are we giving our students long term that put them into jobs that provide them a wage so that they can sustain their lives. And what are they completing? Now, some students come to our system and they want a certificate. Some students want a 2-year degree. Some want a 4-year degree. So completion does not mean that they have to have a bachelor's. Completion may be a specific completion that that student has identified. But we have to make things more accessible, and we have to have resources that support our students through that pipeline. And we all have to look very closely at what those resources are. So this is the start of the framework, but more student input is going to be required as this framework gets built out. And they want student voice. And that is why we've brought this to this meeting, to make you as the leads on your campus aware of this. If everyone on this meeting could then bring this back to their respective SGAs to introduce it at your next meeting, we would really appreciate that. And there is a website for this, for the ACT framework and development. And we will get that emailed to you with the follow-up PowerPoint as well, so that you can then reference the ACT website for your students when you speak to them, and let them know that this is the guiding force behind the goals for the system, so that we are being very mindful of student needs.
Thank you so much, Sam. I think it's very important to highlight the this, like Tam mentioned, this is in the early stages, so input is gonna mold and change this framework a little bit, especially student input, and as well as, like Tam mentioned, each and every single one of you is your campus representative, so your input is highly valuable. You represent your campus, you represent your students, and I think that it's very important that we hear from you, so that way your campus and your student body that you're representing doesn't get left out of putting input in this and benefiting your campus as well. So thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. So we're gonna go over show of hands. Do we think that how can this be implemented on each of your campuses successfully? So I think that this is something that we can all think about after the meeting, and please you can send us an email with ways that you can think that this framework can be implemented or your campus successfully. And like I said, your input is very important as you represent your campus. So we look forward to hearing from you guys.
Would you like to ask the group for feedback on the pillars?
Yeah, for sure. If anyone has any suggestions, please feel free to raise your hand. And I don't see any hands, so we're gonna continue with our agenda.
I'm just going to say one comment to the students. I think much like our standards, we'll send you the link so that you can also marinate on the ACT pillars and read more about those, and then think about how you can then bring that information and gain feedback from your campus leadership and your students that you work with on your SGAs. So we'll provide that. And I know Cheyenne put the link into the chat as well, but that will also come on email.
Perfect. Thank you. Awesome. So we're gonna continue with our agenda. And we're entering the last bit of what we have for you guys today. We're gonna talk a little bit about the goals that we have for the students and the student advisory committee this upcoming session. Me and Cheyenne are gonna chime in, but I guess did I hear anything? Okay. Perfect. So one of the first things in our agenda is developing and distributing a needs assessment survey. The reason for this needs survey is very different from each other, and each campus has very different needs. But I think there's many commonalities between each campus that we could potentially fulfill those needs for students. So our goal is going to be to develop and distribute a needs assessment across the whole system to better have more data and a better representation of what are some of the common themes that students across the whole system are needing, so we can better tackle those problems, as well as generating more data from students. That way we have a better idea, and we can better move forward with more information about it. So I think that this is gonna help us have a more clear idea of the issues that many students are facing across the campus, whether it's tutoring, food insecurity. Maybe some campuses are tutoring. Um, I believe that with this assessment survey, we're gonna have a better picture of what is exactly needed. Cheyenne, you want to chime in, or should I continue?
Sure. So everybody, to piggyback off of what Luis has said, so we're doing our best to work with, not only with the Board of Regents, the committee, you guys, but also, institutional research, system-wide. So, these tailored questions that we ask you, they're not repetitive. It's not something you've already seen before. We really want to get down to the nitty-gritty for what's going on within your personal life, what's your own personal impediments, as well as impediments campus by campus and system wide as a whole. So I think Luis forgot to add with surveys, it's always better to have an incentive. So Luis and I took some time before the meeting and we said, what motivates us as a college student to fill out a survey? Well, one, the survey needs to be short, so within the 7 to 10 minute time frame, as well as perhaps attaching some sort of monetary incentive or food incentive. And this can be spoken about for meetings to come, but we would like to ask you, is that good enough? Is there a certain dollar amount that should be attached for this survey? Should it be a scholarship? Do you want a food gift card? We just want to know.
Perfect. Yeah, you're right. I did forget to mention that. That's exactly right. I believe that some more students access and actually fill out the survey so we can gather the data. I think most of the times an incentive can potentially push them to do so. So, like Sharon mentioned, anywhere from a scholarship, extra tuition money to food cards. So we're looking to hear your input about this and whether or not that's a good idea or not.
Yes.
And I want to just clarify one thing. So it would be an incentive that would be at the end of the survey. So if a student would like to go into a pool to potentially win a something at the end of the survey. So could we build some kind of a tuition incentive or scholarship incentive or a gift card at the end that they could try to win? And I see Donna's hand up, and then if anybody wants to put suggestions in the chat as well, the students could do that. So I'm gonna let Donna have the floor.
Hey, I just wanted to clarify
Donna.
what it is that you're asking us to do. Are you asking our student government representatives to come back to you with our responses to a survey, or you're asking us to go to our administration to distribute the survey to all of our students so that they can participate in a system-wide survey?
I can answer this.
Perfect.
Thank you for your question, Donna. So the goal is to have the survey distributed by system office. And Tamara, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. And then when it comes on to the incentive, we just want, feedback as to what would motivate a student to, take 7 to 10 minutes throughout their busy school day to fill out a survey so we can get, crucial information.
It would be a system-wide student survey, but the survey questions would need to be built in conjunction with our institutional research office, but we want feedback long-term from this group, what types of questions we need to build in that survey to ask across the system to get feedback about our student services and our student needs. So it's going to be a general survey for all students across the system. That was the idea that Luis and Cheyenne had discussed. But we will all build it together, but we need IR to properly build that survey and distribute it. And we would think a carrot at the end, quote unquote, some kind of a incentive would get more students to fill it out if they could have the chance to win something as an incentive. So there's two parts to it. We're going to need help building and figuring out the questions. We're not going to do that today. That'll be at a later meeting. And then what are the suggested incentives that you think students would particularly be in favor of.
Thank you, Tam. Donna, does that clear up what you asked?
I think so. I was just, thinking about what I would have to do to go to the administration to say, hey, I need, a list of all of our students' emails, for instance. And of course, because Charter Oak is different than all of the other institutions, there'll be a lot of questions that would be not applicable to us. And some things that may be applicable to us that wouldn't be applicable to every other institution because of us being an online. So that's why I just wanted to get a feel for what it was that we were looking to do overall. So it sounds like you want our students to respond to an overall system-wide survey, as well as every other institution to do that, which would mean gathering a lot of personal information like email addresses.
Donna, that would be done systematically. Students would not need to worry about that kind of stuff. It's more about what kind of questions and what are we seeking to ask students about that we want more information about, and then what incentive. And then we would help on the back end of lists, emailing it out, getting it distributed, all that. So you
Okay.
don't need to worry about that as a student.
So
Yep.
the individual school wouldn't have to worry about that because
Exactly.
could pull all
No.
that. Okay,
Yep.
good.
We have access to all that stuff in our IR department. Yeah.
So it sounds like you want us to go back to our individual student governments and say, hey, as a student, what do you think would get people to fill out this survey? That's essentially what you're asking us to bring back to the next meeting is ideas for that.
Correct. And also, what things do they think we need to do a deeper dive on and ask questions about?
Okay, that sounds like two pretty easy, straightforward things to give our individual SGAs then. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. And
Malachi has his hand up.
awesome.
Yeah. So if you guys wanted to do the type of thing where every single student who fills out a survey gets the same exact reward for that, I think like a gift card for five to $10 for like food, or even like a Visa gift card, that could be good. Or if you wanted to do something where you had a chance to win something after the survey, like a sort of a raffle, then we could maybe say like each campus will give away like 10 hoodies, or 10 hoodies, 5 hats type thing. We could give away some school merch, because I think that'd be a good incentive for students I know.
Awesome.
Okay. So in addition to a potential gift card, like a tangible item.
I wasn't necessarily thinking in addition to. I was thinking
Oh, okay.
like it could be one or the other. I guess it depends on if you guys feel like it should be something where it's like, yeah, we'll tell every single student, if you fill this out, you will be guaranteed something. Or we can just say, if you fill this out, like you're going to be added to a raffle to maybe win something. I guess it depends on if you guys want there to be guaranteed or if you want it to be a raffle.
Awesome. Also, I see in the chat, Emily typed, she mentioned that she thinks a food and something would be better. It gives a tangible thing, and Victor agreed with that. So in addition to what Malachi said, potentially hoodies, food gift cards, seems like it's something that students want. And, as students, especially in college, we're always hungry. So food gift cards would be pretty good. I agree. But yeah, Malachi, thank you so much for your input. Anyone else? Any more input about this item? Okay.
Luis,
Yes,
this is Donna. Just to tag on real quick, what would be the budget for this? Like, who's paying for all of these gift cards? Is this coming from the system, or is this coming from the individual institutions?
So
There would be a request to the Board of Regents for the need.
Perfect.
So once the students identify some suggestions, it would then be brought forward through the Board of Regents as a suggestion, and then they would have final approval on the survey being distributed and also incentives, because you're a subcommittee of the BOR.
All right, we're gonna move on to our line item 2, which is raise more awareness of the student advisory committee. The reason why we added this to the list is because we want to create a strong foundation here at the student advisory committee where we input from everyone, and we get students are super excited, and they know exactly what they're getting themselves into when they join the student advisory committee. I think that there needs to be more sense of awareness for all the students across the system about the role that the student advisory committee plays, as it can be used as a great tool to leverage students' interests across the as it serves, like Tam previously mentioned, as a subcommittee of the board regions. So the input that we get from the student advisory committee gets delayed to the board regions, allows them to make better decisions that help the students as well, and has the student voice in consideration. So I know, Cheyenne, maybe you want to chime in and talk a little bit more about this.
Sure. So, in addition to awareness, everybody, coupled in with that is empowerment. So, creating more channels as to which, system wide speaking, more students know about the SAC committee. There's more, interest in the SAC committee, and the SAC committee will be able to grow. Luis is the chair and I am the vice chair. And, I consider all of you guys, very important, participants, but we feel that our cabinet needs to be bigger. We need to hear more voices, more opinions, more concerns from students overall. So what better way than accomplishing that than creating awareness and empowering you guys, making sure you feel okay enough to speak. So this is something that we found very important, and I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you on this.
Yeah, and for this line item, we're gonna need everyone's help. Create advisory committee starts with you guys, each of your individual campuses, potentially setting up time with your student governments to talk about the role of the student advisory committee and how it plays. And if you guys need any information or extra information about what the student advisory committee mission is, we're more than happy to share that with you guys so you guys can start creating that awareness across the campus systems. And I think this perfectly provides a perfect segue, as we're going to be talking to about the line item number 3, which is CU connections. This is with the emphasis on you guys' input. So Cheyenne and I have talked about how can we gather more input from you guys, the students, and students from your campuses. So we have decided that once a month we're gonna set up a virtual room where a link is gonna be provided to you guys, and you guys can relay it to any student that's interested in talking with us and providing their feedback to potential things that we can accomplish or issues that they're encountering. Um, uh, Cheyenne, you want to talk a little bit more about this idea as well?
Sure, definitely. And after this, guys, I have to run. So our goal and what we envision the CSCU connections to be, for a lack of better terms, like our safe space, our brave space, like our SAC committee office hours. You can feel free to pop in. We envision it to happen once a month. Talk to us what's going on at your campus. You guys are the eyes and ears for each and every campus. Luis and I aren't there every day. You guys are. You guys have your ears on the ground, feet on the ground. So let us know what's going on, what you need, how can we support, so on and so forth. And this just encompasses everything that we wish to do with you guys. So we think starting off at least once a month might be sufficient, and if the need becomes greater, we could do it twice a month or more.
Perfect. Thank you, Cheyenne, and I thank you for coming in, and thank you for your input and what you said today.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Perfect. So we'll continue with our agenda. Next item is gonna be updating the student advisory committee bylaws. For this, I want to create a subcommittee for the bylaws. I've gone through the bylaws and added a couple suggestions, but I'm definitely looking for more students that are interested in working with this and creating a subcommittee so we can work in the bylaws. The reason why this is very important is because the students advisory bylaws are gonna be not just for now, but for the years to come. So we want to make sure that we set of bylaws that are contemporary and are gonna benefit not just students now, but long term as well. So for that, if there's any volunteers or anyone wants to volunteer to help out with this task of updating the student advisory bylaws, we're looking forward to hearing from people and getting you guys' input. So please feel free to type in the chat if you're interested, or to send an email to me or Tam about this. I will be sharing an updated the updated bylaws, the old bylaws to every one of you again sometime this week or next, potentially with some suggestions, and feel free to add or have your input in it. So thank you so much. I know that Victor and Cheyenne had to leave, but we can continue with the meeting. And then, so for the student advisory committee bylaws, if anyone's interested in being part of the subcommittee, please feel free to reach out, like I said previously, or type in the chat. So that's what I have for that. And our last line item before we can all go. Cheyenne and I are working in coordinating SGA visits system-wise. The reason for this is because we want to make sure that we get as much feedback and as much input from all the students across the system as possible. So in the coming up semester, and we're gonna be working into visiting each and every single one of your campuses to better get an understanding of this, and so we can better advocate for you guys at the BOR regions. So for that, we're looking to that way we can better allocate our time correctly, so that way we can reach all the campuses across the state. And we're looking forward to meeting you guys in person and meeting each and every single one of your campuses. So be on the lookout for that. And just a quick reminder, like we mentioned before, your input and your feedback is super important. So like I said, if anyone volunteers to be part of the subcommittee for the bylaws, and then if anyone wants to help out with any of the line items mentioned today, please feel free to reach out. So that being said, if anyone has any questions,
I just wanted to say we'll send a follow-up summary email with all this information to everyone by early next week. It will have updated standards, the ACT website, information about the survey, and what we need for you to do with your campuses and ask your SGA reps about. Please send your name if you are interested in working on the bylaws subcommittee. And if everyone could please send your SGA meeting time and dates when you have SGA meetings to Luis and Cheyenne, so that they could schedule their in-person meetings of your SGA governing boards. And I think that concludes that.
yeah, perfect. So thank you so much to everyone who made it today. We appreciate taking time out of your day on this day. With that being said, we conclude our meeting. Thank you so much, guys, for
Luis, you got to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So So I would like to ask for a motion, if anyone can second it.
I second the motion to adjourn.
Perfect.
I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you to everybody for being here today. And our next meeting is December 6th. We added a December meeting. I know it's kind of tight with finals, but we felt it was important since we only had one official meeting with the election. And that will be December 6th at noon, and I will send a reminder out about that meeting. It's already on your calendars. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.